Good morning. We are definitely on Blog Talk Radio. This is Renee with One Mom on a Borough, soon to be again Two Moms on a Borough, as my partner, Carol Keene, is going to be coming back to the show soon. We've got a great show lined up today, and I'm going to bring in a gentleman, actually two gentlemen. I've got my dad on the Borough, Thomas Mick, who is a constitutionalist and a wonderful co-host with me. So he's going to be coming on air. And Doug Boggs. Doug, boy, I've known him for some time now, and he has been fighting the foreclosure fraud. That foreclosure fraud out there, for anyone going through it, you know it, I know it, it's horrific. So without further ado, let me first bring in Thomas. Thomas, I'm bringing you on in. Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm so happy you're on there with me.
Well, I'm happy you reminded me.
Yeah. Hey, as we get older, we have to be reminded. I know I do, and if I didn't have a mark on my hand this morning, I'd have been late too. But our guest today, Doug, and I had a conversation this morning, and I know you're going to find it interesting. He's just very frustrated, pissed off, mad at the system. And if anybody knows anything about that, it's you with your plan of action to get the corrupt out of the system. So with no further ado, I want you to listen in and just hear, because this is one of the men who are fighting the system, and he's got a movie he's bringing out. We're going to be running the trailer in just a moment, but let me bring him in. Good morning, Doug. How are you this morning?
Good morning. I'm doing well, thank you.
Good. Well, I really appreciate you coming on air. Today is about you. Today is about getting information out about your Quantum of Justice, your movie coming out. And we need to support you in this. You've worked very hard. You've helped a lot of people. Before we play the trailer, is there anything you'd like to say real quickly? As you heard, Thomas is on with us, a wonderful man with a plan of action to help rid us of this corruption. But give us a lead into this trailer, and I'm going to play it. It's about just short of 3 minutes, but everybody's going to want to hear it. It is amazing. So give me a lead into this, Doug.
I wanted to do a film because I went through the court system and found it highly corrupt, and the answers were not able to be found. Change was not able to happen through our judicial system. So if I couldn't make change and find justice through the judicial system, I felt the only way that I could really get word out and make change on a broad scale. I wasn't looking for change for myself. I had lost my house at that point along the way. So it's a bigger situation. It's bigger than me. It's bigger than my situation. I wasn't looking for my home back. I wasn't looking for restitution of my down payment or anything at that point anymore. That's all gone. I don't plan on getting anything back anymore. So now it's just a matter of trying to change the system. And in order to do that, we need a mass consciousness to understand exactly what's going on and how and the depth of what's going on for people to really realize. When you reach a critical mass, there's a tipping point for a consciousness to make change, whatever that change is, whether it's good or bad. But there's a measurable tipping point that's necessary to reach, and that's why I wanted to make a film to reach the largest possible audience possible, the largest possible audience in the numbers in the shortest amount of time possible. And I thought a film might be able to do that.
Well, I can tell you, Thomas can agree. Thomas, did you hear his words that we need a change? I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to play that trailer now. Yeah, Thomas, we all know how that goes, don't we? So let's go ahead and listen to this trailer. It's just short of 3 minutes, but it's powerful. So hang on, gentlemen. We'll be right back. Let's listen.
The financial collapse of 2008, leading to taxpayer bailouts, continued to dominate the news in 2010. The bubble had burst. The house of cards was falling. Home prices were dropping, and the construction industry had come to a halt. Unemployment ran high. Banks had stopped lending. It now seemed their new business model was foreclosure. We all watched the American dream disappear before our eyes. Just after Christmas 2010, the bank started coming for my home. I felt lost and beaten. But we started to see fraudulent document after fraudulent document being filed. A friend told me to sue the bank. Nervously, I filed a lawsuit. Since I had no money for an attorney, I had to act as my own. It was the hardest thing I've ever done, and what I found astounded me. This documentary comes from my own foreclosure lawsuit against Wells Fargo Bank for fraud. After countless, endless nights of research, through decades of documents, and reading thousands of pages of cases and legal references, taking me through superior, federal, appellate, and appeals, and the state Supreme Courts, watch as we walk through the depth of the fraud and corruption of Wall Street and our judicial system from the inside out. This film exposes the fraud of foreclosure and securitization and how the banks steal homes, even if a homeowner is current on their payments or paid cash outright. It sheds light on the fact that there is an over 80% chance that the bank foreclosing on any home actually has no legal interest, or that the monthly mortgage payments that you are making do not go to the party who legally owns your note. Wall Street and the financial institutions know this, yet continue the fraud, foreclosing illegally on millions of families. The banks steal our homes, destroy families and communities, ruin lives, defraud the country of trillions in bailout packages because it seemed that they were too big to fail. And now it seems they are too big to jail. The fraud runs deep, and no one has gone to prison. The courts don't seem to care. Wall Street's billions can buy anything, anyone, anywhere. This film follows the trail deep down the rabbit hole into the trenches of first-hand dealings with the foreclosure system, deep interaction with the failed court system, to a world of fraud and corruption, going all the way to some of the highest levels of government. It's amazing what we choose to see, even when truth is right in front of our eyes.
Wow, pretty powerful there, Doug. Great job. Thomas, what are you thinking?
I was just seeing what he saw, and I've been seeing for years, and the very reason that I wrote my article, A Plan of Action. The only way that I can see out of this mess is to remove the people that perpetuate it from office. As you know, Renee, and I'm sure that our guest has discovered, we're in a corporation. We don't have a government anymore. We have a corporation that is running things, and that corporation needs to be removed.
Agree.
Period.
Agree. Doug, you know, that trailer, that's what, when I heard that trailer, I got to tell you, I've talked to you a few times over the last couple of years, just briefly. We talked about foreclosure. That's a powerful trailer. We got to get this movie out for you. I've got a couple of people I'm going to be sending it to, because just the trailer alone shows the quality of your work. We've got some questions. People around the country have questions. You know, we have people going into court, as they call them, newbies, into the court system, and the first thing I tell people is, oh my God, if you can stay out of the court, give us some of your thoughts based on your experience in. And I know this morning the term you used was pissed off. You were pissed off this morning because of yesterday. So whatever happened. So lead us into some knowledge that we know you have that's more than most men and women who are fighting foreclosure. And I do say men and women because I am an American national. I've gone to the common law as my life. And what I see in a lot of things, I reviewed some documents this morning, were pleadings that were done for the legal fiction by the common law person, common law man or woman, without even realizing that they were losing that pleading strictly because of the way they pled it. And I know you have spent years doing this. So lead us in. Give us some information, firsthand education on your court system wins, because I do believe you're a winner, Doug, because you've brought so much to the forefront.
Thank you. I am angry. Yesterday, I talked to a handful of people all afternoon at various levels in their own court battles, and what I was hearing. Let me backtrack just slightly prior to getting in deeper, but I would not advise somebody to not go to court. We live in a system that, as much as you might want to change the hierarchy system and remove the power brokers and whatnot, the system will still remain. We have to, and I'm not necessarily the advocate that says we need to work within the system to change the system. I honestly don't believe that can actually work. However, since the system is currently there, you have to use the tools that you have at your disposal. And unless you're going to literally get everyone to lock and load and revolt, you have to deal with the tools that you have. So if somebody is losing their house, that's the tool they have. So they need to use it. You can use it effectively. Some people have won.
Right. So, we've known a lot of people who've won. Look at, Mary McCulley, Pam Ragland. We've had a lot of people we know personally. Exactly.
And so it's not something to say the system is broken, don't participate. I'm not an advocate of that. You choose what to participate with and whatnot because those are the tools that you have, and that's the strength that you're bringing, or that's the level of participation that you choose to be in the system that we have. But this is the paradigm we're in. So use what's available, but you need to know how to use what's available. And I was talking to people yesterday, and they were kind of guiding me through how they wanted to make some of their arguments, and I was just listening. And what came across for me was they were going down the wrong path, and they don't know it, and their lawyers know it, but their lawyers are getting paid, and whether they win or lose, they don't. The lawyers go home to their house and their kids, and they don't care. I'm not saying all lawyers don't care, but chances are, if a lawyer goes and starts going into court talking about the trustee isn't the right trustee, and they weren't. This is the state of California. We are in a deed of trust state, so there's a trustee involved in the transaction, and that's how people are going into fights now, primarily in the state of California, with wrongful trustees, and the trustees are filing wrong paperwork and all that. So what you're doing is you're going into an argument on their turf, because what I found is that the trustees are illegal from the onset. The entire document from the onset is an illegal document. It is fraudulent on its face to begin with. The moment you put the pen down to the paper to sign that document to buy that house, you are being defrauded against. So if you go to court and play the game that they're playing, they want to foreclose on you, you want to go and stop it. It depends on how you go about formulating your argument in order to be successful to go and stop it. I played the wrong game, and I was unsuccessful at stopping it. I now know a different argument to be played. I'm not done. There's a lot of ways to keep going within the process to make change and whatnot. But I'm not fighting to get my house back at this point anymore. That's long cause. But what I was trying to counsel people and say, I'm not a lawyer, so I'm not giving any legal advice and whatnot. But I would just tell people, it's like if you're going to go into an arena, you need to understand the rules of the game. And it's not easy. Certainly it's not easy when you have no lawyer. You have to learn everything, including the rules of the game. then you have to learn how to formulate your argument in order to play the rules of the game to win. It's a very, very hard task if you're your own lawyer. I advocate being your own lawyer if you have the capacity to do that, because lawyers are part of the system. So it's a matter.
And Doug, I want to interject here. When you say lawyers, I want people to understand too that there's a big distinction between lawyer and attorney. They're two very different terms. An attorney practices, a lawyer perfects, and anyone with a bar card is an attorney. Those going into the court, I agree 100% with you. I'm really liking what you're saying, but I did want to make that distinction because a lot of people get confused when they go in. They believe they have to have an attorney. You don't. Right. You can be your own lawyer, just like you're saying. But be prepared. Exactly. Go in with the tools. You learn the tools on your own. It's not a journey for those who really have a faint heart or are easily beat up, because we know the judges, the bailiffs, there's a game being played in there against us. So go ahead, continue on, but I did want to make that distinction for people listening, that lawyer and attorney are two very different things. And in the common law, a lawyer perfects. So that's a very good thing to remember and investigate.
Well, when my friend, as I said in the trailer, a friend of mine told me to sue the banks. That morning when we had that specific conversation, we talked about the formulation of this country, and where it was back then there weren't that many attorneys. People didn't have money to pay for an attorney, so they were their own lawyer, and they would go into court and fight about whatever they would fight about in the common law courts.
Well, and you remember that they weren't very well respected either. Being an attorney was not a respectable position. It was actually one that many people, and there was a lot of disregard for. So that, and attorneys were not supposed to be public servants. They were not supposed to hold public offices.
So over time, let's just, in tongue-in-cheek, let's just say that not much has changed. But people go in and they would fight for their own cause. And when I was reminded of this, when my friend kind of grabbed my shoulders and said, you can do this, I needed that. I needed somebody to say, you can do this. But it was not an easy task. I am an information junkie, and at that point in time, I had been unemployed for 2 years. I was in real estate and real estate development. I had properties all in various states around the United States. And when the economy imploded, so did mine. And so I didn't feel like I could do much. But he kind of shook me a little bit. He says, you can do this, and you have the time. I didn't really want to hear that, but he was right. I did have the time, because the economy wasn't very helpful to me at that point in time, and I wasn't able to really get anything moving forward financially at that point. And so I did have a lot of time, and I was in good health. I didn't have children. A lot of the things that hold people back for doing something as in-depth as this is, I didn't have those things holding me back. And so I took it on. And I'm glad I did. I wouldn't change it. I wouldn't change anything. I've learned more than I ever thought I ever wanted about this issue, but it's opened my eyes that much more to what's necessary to change. But what I'm trying to explain to people is you can do this. It is not easy, and you will need to make sacrifice. So it's a decision that you have to make if you're going to go forward and do this. And the reason I did it, and I liken the story to this, is where Wells Fargo stole my house. Now, if I were to put a value to my house, let's say it's $1 million. For those in the Midwest or something, it seems like a lot. In California, that's a one-bedroom. But I digress. Let's just say you're walking down the street with a duffel bag with $1 million in cash. That's your house. That's the American dream. That's what everyone works for. That's what we've been taught for generations. And everyone wants one. Everyone wanted to have one. And so you're walking down with your American dream in a duffel bag down the street, and this person named Wells Fargo comes running by and grabs it, and they go running down the street. Are you going to say, oh, well, gee, sorry, I guess I didn't pay my bill? Or are you going to run after them?
Exactly. You're not going to stand still. Yeah.
Well, some people are so frozen, and it's too bad, but there are some people that are so frozen with the situation at hand that they don't know what to do. And that is what happens, is they stand there and they watch everything dissolve and they don't do anything. I just urge people, do whatever you can. Take it as far as you can, no matter what, just to give yourself some dignity and strength back, if that's all it's for. Because chances are you're going to lose, because that's the way our system is. However, if you walk away not doing anything, you have a higher chance of being broken and crumbled and losing dignity, and it's not a place that I would rather have people go. I think from a conscious place in our society to help heal some of this in some way, shape, or form, we can do that on a spiritual level and get people to empower themselves in one way, shape, or form, even if it's simply filing a form in court and getting in court just to piss somebody off, and then you lose. I don't care, but at least you've stepped up, you've empowered yourself, and you've done something instead of watching Wells Fargo run away with your duffel bag. That I don't like,
and
I don't advocate
that's
that
huge
at all.
Because that's a lot of the sentiment. People, men and women out there who are fighting the system, what they don't realize is if you at least do something, you at least get in front and try to and do everything within your power, regardless of whether it's right or wrong. The one thing you're doing is something. And they bank, in quotations, on homeowners doing nothing.
Yes. And most do nothing. And that's the complacency that we live in. Our society has become so complacent. I've had the privilege of traveling around the world a bit, and I've been to places where people have absolutely nothing. And they are the happiest people I've ever met on the planet. I mean, when they say I have absolutely nothing, they have absolutely nothing. And they are way more happy than anyone that I've ever met in our country. And we have anything you could possibly want that you could get your hands on exists here that man has made. But we are a very depressed and demented society that just we don't know how to be happy here. And if we can find a parcel of that in that moment of darkness where somebody is taking all of your belongings, it's not the belongings. That isn't the issue. It's the fact that you've been wronged, and to just, if you've been wronged, you have to step up and stand in your person and be dignified to yourself, so you can then move forward in life and be a productive. Not productive, that's not the right word, but just be a more conscious and awake human being. Getting in the trench is not a place where you can go and become awakened. But the process of doing that and learning and empowering yourself will change you to be a better person. Whether you win or lose your home is not the issue. Chances are, and here, I mean, you have to go in planning on the fact that you're going to lose. And from an energetic standpoint, right, I don't like to say that, because then you're pretty much manifesting your demise. But at the same token, you can reword that in the process. But the point is, you need to empower yourself instead of roll over and let Wells Fargo run away with your duffel bag.
Exactly. And you know what, Doug? This movie that you've done, it'll take people through, are there court videos from inside the court? Are there videos? Tell us, do you have footage of actual procedure going on?
I don't have footage of actual procedure. My judges really didn't want anything like that going on because that way they couldn't say some of the things and do some of the things they were able to do. So that I don't
right.
have.
Well, and we all know as you learn,
not from
they
my
have no
case,
choice, really. Yeah.
Not for my case, I don't. But there's footage out there that we can use and whatnot. I don't know if I'm going to go there. I don't think that's necessary to substantiate the information that I'm putting out. The information that's coming out in the film is it will show through the process of and this is some of this information everyone already knows, but what they don't know is how close to home for them it is. There's a movie called Inside Job, which many people have seen, won an Oscar for Best Documentary, I think in 2010 or 2011. Something like that. And it is about the securitization of loans and the corruption on Wall Street. Millions of people saw this film, and then they went home. And then the next month, they wrote out a check to the bank for their mortgage.
Exactly.
So
we're getting down to
I wanted to do...
Go ahead. We're getting down to the 3-minute point, so make them work.
Okay. So what I wanted to do was just focus the information and bring it home to people and show how effective it is or how close to home it is. If you are paying a mortgage, whether you're current or whether you've paid it off, you can still be foreclosed on. People, it blows their mind when I tell them this, but how the laws are construed, et cetera, allows the banks to do this. Whether it's legal or not isn't really the issue. It can be done. And the complacency allows people to simply go home and watch TV and just simply write a check. But they might as well write a check to me because it's going to someone who doesn't have a right to collect the money. So if you're going to write a check, write that check the next mortgage payment to my film, and we can really get the information out. And instead of the bank, because they don't have the right to collect the money anyway. They don't own the note. So if you're going to write a check to somebody, you could write it to me, and that way we can get the film done.
And you know what? I like that. Anyone out there listening, even if it's $2, $1, $5, there's a link on the show, the GoFundMe for Quantum of Justice. Doug Boggs has put a lot of time, a lot of effort, a lot of thought into helping other people come to knowledge of what's happening. And Doug, because of you, because of many other people out there, we are getting the word out. Thomas, thank you for getting your word out about the plan of action, because a lot of what we've heard Doug talk about today really is, there is remedy. We have the remedy within the courts. People just, men and women just do not know what it is. So in closing, I'm going to be playing a song Clinton Kirby wrote for the show. It's called If Freedom's Illegal, Better Be an Outlaw. And we have no freedoms when our land, home, and lives are being stolen. So, Doug, thank you for being the guest today. Anyone listening, get out there. Go ahead.
You can find more information on my story at mycourthistory.com, and you can read my blog there, and there's a plethora of information there that I go very much in depth.
Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you, Doug. Thank you, Thomas.
Thank you.
May all of you listening remember that you have value, you have ability, and unless you use your tools that you really have, you can't do anything. So get out there. Let's change America, bring it back to the Republic of America that we need. Have a great day. And again, Doug Boggs, thank you for Quantum of Justice. Let's get her going.
Thank you very much. All right.
an outlaw.